Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kira. Subscribe if you're new. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. So today I wanted to talk about Malcolm and Marie, which is a movie that recently came out on Netflix. You may or may not have seen it. It's been pretty widely viewed and pretty widely disliked, which is why I kind of wanted to talk about it. Most of the reviews about it are not good. Most of the reviews say the movie is boring. I actually wrote down a list of all the things that people have said about it. People are saying it was slow and boring and that nothing happened past the first 20 minutes. People are saying John David Washington's performance wasn't dynamic. People are saying Zendaya didn't fit the role. She didn't look womanly enough. People were saying overall that it was just a boring movie about a single argument and nothing happened. People were also upset because they felt the director, Sam Levinson, was trying to whine about his white problems with the critics through a black actor. So that's just some of the things that people were upset about. I have a few questions for these people. My first question is, have you never been in an argument like this? That's what my first response was I was like, so all these people are mad at this movie and they think it's really boring. Has this never happened to those people? Because it's happened to me, like not obviously that exact scenario in that situation, but everybody, and I do mean everybody, because it could also be like not within a relationship. It could be with somebody in your family or a friend, but especially in a relationship. You've never had an argument like that? And you don't relate to that? That's confusing to me, because for me, I liked it. I'm gonna come out and say it. I liked it. The reason I liked it, because I thought there were so many different parts of the movie, right? There's so many different moods and extremes, going from one extreme to another, and laughing to crying to arguing. And I feel like that's how it works. Like that's how arguments are, and you don't always see like film and TV actually portray it properly, where it's like this, you know what I mean? And yes, sometimes you're arguing about nothing. And sometimes you're arguing about nothing important. 90% of communication is nonverbal though, so you're seeing, there's a part in the movie where they're going around in a circle as they're having a circular argument. And I can understand, I guess, how maybe that would come across as boring, but to me it was extremely interesting. And I loved what they did with space, and I loved the direction. I loved what Sam Levinson did. I love how we start outside the house and you see them coming into the house and dancing, whatever, and then we end inside the house and they're outside of the house. And I understand, I guess, why when people want things, okay, you know what? No, I don't understand. And this brings me to my next point. What do you think art is? And what do you think it's supposed to do for you? I'm genuinely asking. A woman, one of my favorite YouTubers on here, her name is Kimberly Foster. Her YouTube channel is called For Harriet. She said something in her video on it, which was also largely negative. She didn't like it either, and I disagreed with a lot of what she said, but I did agree with what she said when talking about how we view art, because she said, you are expecting art to do things for you that only therapy can do. And I was like, yes, because the problem is, and this happens with so many different film and TV shows that we get these days, is that people seem to be critiquing it based on what they thought they were gonna see or what they would have done. But is that what you think art is? Is art supposed to be, say I'm making a film, am I supposed to make a film that would cater directly to you specifically and try and do that for every single person in my demographic? Or can I make it for me? Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's something I want to say, but it's something I want to say. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm finding very selfish viewership lately. Let's call it that. Selfish viewership. As in, you want everything to be constructed to your mind. Instead, maybe you can go to it. I think we see a lot these days, not just critics, but also regular people and people who, you know, critique content, and people who just tweet, people who just have opinions, and that's fine. But I'm seeing a trend lately where everybody thinks that the content is supposed to completely come to them, arrive at their doorstep, knock on the door, and let themselves in. When maybe you should consider the idea that sometimes you are supposed to go to the art and you are supposed to enter their world. You can't always expect the artist, the creator, the director, the actors to completely fit and mold to your world because they don't know you actually, probably. They don't know you. You are seeking them out. Take what they have to offer instead of trying to make what they have to offer fit into the confines of your understanding of the world and film and art. Does that make sense? Because you're gonna get a way more limited experience that way if you're just trying to fit something that is its own entity over here and was made and created without the knowledge of your existence. And you're gonna take that beautiful, big, massive, wildly subjective and interpretive thing and try and make it fit your puzzle. It's not gonna. It's not gonna. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't understand why people are always like, well, they should have done this, and I don't like how they did this, and I don't like to. Also, a big critique was that they didn't like John David Washington's character. Did you know that maybe he wasn't supposed to be likable? And also another critique that people had was that just like what he was complaining about was too white. And that the director was trying to get out his frustrations through him. An article I read said something about it was exploitation. They said it was exploitation the way the white director talked about something that may be relevant to his life through a black actor. Huh? Isn't that what movies are? I'm so confused. Here's the thing. I understand if you're saying you wish this film had a black director. Okay, well, it didn't. And because it didn't, are you saying that black actors should not be in the film? Because that's what you're saying when you're saying that. Right? When we're saying, oh, well, the white director exploited the black actor by putting his problems and portraying them through a black man's mouth. So you think only white directors can work with white actors? Because that's what you're saying when you say that, right? And if you only want John David Washington and Zendaya to work with black directors, guess what? They're gonna be working a lot less. That's the truth. But it's exploitation when they're in a film with a white director. The math ain't mathin'. Just because you can't relate to what this black man is saying on screen does not mean that A, no black man can relate, and also doesn't mean that not anyone can relate. Another thing is that black men can also be narcissists. For everyone that said what he was saying wasn't black enough, first of all, the job of a movie is not to express your individual story. And if you don't relate to a movie with black people in it and you're black, that doesn't make it a bad movie necessarily, right? Because being black is not a monolith. And I promise you, especially from my time living in LA, I promise you, there are plenty of men like that. There are plenty of men exactly like his character, like Malcolm, who are super narcissistic and they're complaining about a good review and blah, 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 blah. And it seems, I guess it comes off very elitist and whatever. They be doing that. They be doing that. I don't know why we're complaining that it's not black. There's black men who do that. I personally can attest to that. So I don't know why we're critiquing that it's not. It's too white and it's exploitation. Consider the idea that black men can also be narcissists. Now my next point, Zendaya, Marie. People saying she's not Marie. People saying it was miscast, that this isn't the role. Okay. I always get confused when people are saying, like, I guess there's times when maybe it could make sense, but for the most part, when people are saying, oh, the casting was wrong, blah, 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 blah. First of all, this role could have been made for them. Sam Levinson is the director of Euphoria, and you think Zendaya was just Marie by accident. Probably not. Second of all, however a film is cast, first of all, the casting directors, they know what they want, whatever, but the point is, whoever they pick, if it doesn't to you make sense, maybe that's because you have some sort of archetype of what that kind of person is in your head, but both in film and in real life, sometimes that person isn't who you expect. This is the metaphor that kind of came to me in my head. It doesn't make sense to me if you meet someone, right? You meet someone, they come into the room, they say, hey, what's up to you? They say whatever they say, they look however they look, and they leave. And then you're gonna judge them and say, well, no, a person like that should have been blonde. A person like that would have had bigger eyes. A person like that would have been more curvy. A person like that would have looked older. Does that make sense? Or are you just really stripping the joy out of every situation? Why can't you just look at something and let it be what it is? What is everybody's societal problem with looking at something and letting it be what it is? You have to look at a film and say, no, she's not right for the part, even though the part was maybe possibly created for her. You have to say, she's not right for the part. She doesn't look womanly enough. She didn't bring to the role what she should have brought. Or we can just take that kind of person and accept what that energy does in the film. Okay, you don't think she looks super mature? Well, what does it look like for a person in her position who may not look super mature? What energy and what dynamic does that create between her and Malcolm? Because that is a very interesting dynamic that we wouldn't see if she was more mature. If she was more mature, it's a different movie. This is what I'm saying. When everybody's critiquing the movie, you are putting in thoughts that would make it a different movie. And do you understand that the people involved in this movie very deliberately made the movie that they made? So if you wanted to see a different movie, you should have made that movie. I'm just so confused by how everybody has decided to engage with art by deciding that they know better than the person who created it. And it's like, the tips you're giving are making a different movie. So if you don't like the movie, make your own movie, because they made a movie and they wanted to make it like that. Like that wasn't an accident. So instead of saying, oh, well, she's too skinny, she's too young, she doesn't look like a woman, look at what that character, even if what you say may be true, look at what that makes her in relation to him and how they interact, because that is an interesting movie. It's a different movie if she's 10 years older. It's a different movie if she's more mature. She'd have more of a leg to stand on, and she wouldn't be, it would be different. It would be a different movie. And that's not the movie that Malcolm and Marie is. So if you wanted to see that movie, you need to make that movie. You don't go to apples and ask them why they're not oranges. I'm a little bit troubled and annoyed by the way the internet has recently been engaging with art, because as an artist who creates things, like that's it, the expectation for me to create something to like climb all the way to the viewer, sit on their lap, slap them in the face and say, hey, I'm exactly what you thought I would be, is suffocating. It's simply suffocating. And I think for some of these critics who all they do is critique, if they were to start to make something, maybe they would see that. We need to, as a collective, start to view things and meet them where they're at. Take them as they are, instead of immediately going into, well, I would have done this and go do that. If you would have done that, go do that. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. Don't suffocate artists. Don't suffocate art. Don't suffocate yourself when you're having an artistic experience by putting yourself in the mind of the critic and being like, oh, well, I would have da-da-da-da-da. You're literally ripping the joy out of it for yourself. For yourself. Anyways, yes, that is all I have to say. In conclusion, I liked the movie. Okay, yeah, I liked it. I'm sorry. I know everybody else has an issue with it. I liked the movie. And you know what? I had fun watching the movie. Did you? Probably not. If you were ripping it to shreds, you probably didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Maybe, I don't know. I enjoyed it. So yes. Thank you so much. That's literally all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Kira Bria and Twitter at Kira Bria. Subscribe to my podcast. It'll be below. Yes. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.